Yeah, video. There we are. Okay. All right. Good morning, everyone. Sorry for the delay. We had a little bit of technical difficulty getting the webinar live here. Thank you for taking time out of your morning. My name is Scott Whedon, Solar Division Chief for the City of Tustin from Orange County Fire Authority. I'll be facilitating the meeting this morning. Just for everybody's awareness, the meeting is being recorded so that it could be made available on the City of Tustin YouTube channel after the meeting closes here today. For anyone that misses this. We'll go around the room here in a minute to do introductions. The intent of this meeting is a little different for those that have been joining us on the cooperators meeting. This is the Navy Hangar Recovery Team information meeting. We will be sharing information that we shared last night at the council meeting, as well as a current situation update, and then an update from our communications manager. Everyone on the Zoom call is muted, and we won't be taking questions in the chat or live on this meeting due to the size of the meeting and the number of participants. And we'll give you an avenue platform for your questions to go to as we go through the meeting. So without going any further, we'll do introductions in the room, and then we'll get into our presentation.
Colin Cummings, Operations Section Chief with IEM.
Good morning, Bruce Lockwood, Incident Commander and Project Manager for Recovery for IEM.
Stephanie O'Hara, Communications Manager for the City of Tustin.
Liz Van Asen, Zoom moderator, IEM.
Okay, so those are the introductions in the room. For those that might be nervous online because of the number of participants, we are not going to do introductions on Zoom today like we have in the past. We're going to start sharing our screen, and then we're going to go through the update that was shared at this City Council meeting last night. All right, again, as I mentioned in the introduction, my name is Scott Whedon Solar. I'm the Division Chief for the City of Tustin. A lot of you might look familiar to many of you on here because I transitioned from the Division Chief role into the liaison role. So I've been running the cooperators meetings since the onset of the incident management team on Sunday, November 12th. I've been involved with the hangar incident from the initial dispatch. I was the incident commander for the first several days. And then, as I mentioned, I transitioned into the liaison officer role. Next slide, please. So the update that we shared last night, it's basically from our vantage point was three pieces. It's the North Hangar fire, the cleanup, and then the application of the Tacker fire. Next slide, please. Okay, so as we all know, the North Hangar fire started 4 weeks ago yesterday, began just before 1 a.m. on the morning of November 7th. Started out as a single unit response as an exterior miscellaneous type fire, and it was quickly upgraded to a working structure fire. And then shortly after the arrival of the 1st Battalion Chief on scene, it was increased to a 3rd alarm assignment, which brought 11 engines, 5 trucks, 12 chief officers, and 3 helicopters to the scene. OCFA deployed 100 personnel within the first hours of the incident. The hangar was an anomaly to us due to its size. And then the time period it was built, certainly is 300 feet wide by 1,000 feet long. It's, I think, 324,000 square feet, and it's just under 7 acres of a footprint, and also being 17 stories high. So the size, the hazards presented by the collapse zones, as well as falling debris, and then the lack of modern fire protection systems that we have in our newer buildings, I had to make the decisions to take a defensive approach, to use a defensive strategy, which means that we back up from the building, and then we protect the exposures that are adjacent to that building. Next slide, please. The fire was declared fully extinguished on December 1st, and the cause of the fire is still under investigation. The investigation is still ongoing. Next slide. So the next phase we stepped into on, as I mentioned before, on Sunday, November 12th, the Orange County Fire Authority All Hazard Incident Management Team was stood up and brought in to assist the city with the efforts that were already underway. The incident management team was brought in to bring structure, process, and organization to those efforts. Part of that, the map you see on the screen was developed by our operations section. This was the initial map. You're going to see a map in a little bit that's provided by the current operations section that looks a little bit different. It morphed as we got more information. Operations, under the operations section chief, we had an environmental group that was created. with the South Coast Air Quality Management District, Environmental Protection Agency, and then the Orange County Healthcare Agency. Their goal was to develop objectives, strategy, and tactics moving forward. As you can imagine, this incident, certainly an unprecedented incident in Orange County. Certainly there have been other fires in the nation that involved hangars, but I don't think any with as much residential property and businesses in the area. And so to help assist us in developing this map, the PIO section was assisted with that to help define the impact areas. That was done by creating a hotline, a debris portal, as well as daily updates out to the community and taking questions in from the community. And that helped to develop this map. So what you can't see on this one, this was our divisional map set up. There's 12 divisions, and that helps us to divide the labor up and to prioritize as we had information coming in from the community. The calls would be plotted on the map, and then the operations section would use those to prioritize that day's remediation efforts and then the ongoing days. The cleanup process is broken down simply into a 4-step process. There's certified asbestos consultants, or CACs, as you've probably heard that term, that are state and federally certified. They go out when we get the reports in from the portal or through the hotline or the email that was set up. The CACs would go out to assess and evaluate the building or the area in question. They would test the debris that was there. And then if there was asbestos detected and it required a remediation contractor, a separate remediation contractor that's also certified by the state comes in to do the cleanup process. Once they're done with the cleanup process, step 3 is that original CAC goes back and they conduct a reevaluation and they make sure that the area is in fact clean. After that 3rd step, the 4th and final step is there's a completely independent third-party CAC that comes in to verify that 20% of the area that had been cleaned is in fact clean. It's a spot check, if you will. There's a state recommendation is 10%, and the federal recommendation is 20%. And so the environmental group with the operations section decided to go with the more conservative approach and do the 20% spot checks in the area. Next slide, please. As of December 1st, when the OCFA IMT transitioned out, there was over 60% completion of the work on that map that I showed you, or the map actually that is current, that you'll see here shortly with the current operations section chief. Our initial remediation efforts began actually as the IMT was being stood up by ATI, one of our remediation contractors. And we started with the roadways, right-of-ways, and streets and sidewalks. This was because we were waiting for, there had to be plans implemented by the environmental group that I mentioned earlier, prior to having approval to go onto residential property to clean the front and backyards and the side yards. Our priorities for the initial cleanup were schools, parks, and critical infrastructure. And once we received the approval to go onto residential property, we pivoted the operation and began that as soon as we had approval to do so. Moving on to the next slide here, the tackifier application. As many of you have heard, the trade name of this is Gorilla Snot. It is a non-toxic and environmentally friendly substance. It creates a crust over the area at the hangar, as you can see in the 2 pictures on the screen. We worked operations, and the team on site there worked over the weekend. It was completed by Sunday afternoon at close of business, and they applied over 15,000 gallons of this material to form a crust and suppress the particulate matter in the area to avoid recontamination of areas that have already been cleaned. This substance has been used most recently in Maui after the tragic fires that they've had there, but it's been used for over 2 decades in multiple industries. The MSDS sheets, or the material safety data sheets, are available for anyone to review at tustinca.org. That concludes my presentation, and we'll move on to our we'll move on to our incident commander from IEM.
Good morning. So my name is Bruce Lockwood. I am the incident commander, project manager for recovery for IAM, and assumed the role on Friday, December 1st, after being on the ground and shadowing the county fire IMT team. Innovative Emergency Management is the name of our company, but you will continually hear us referred to as IEM. We are a company that works with government agencies and private sector organizations around the world We improved disaster preparedness, response, and recovery. We strengthened homeland defense, counterterrorism, public health, cybersecurity, and public agency performance. And our company is comprised of response, recovery, and preparedness professionals committed to providing efficient and innovative solutions to the city of Tustin. Next slide, please. So dedicated personnel. Overall, our company is 1,400 strong around the country and around the world. On the ground here, we have a team of 10 people working on behalf of the city, managing the incident. We have decades of experience, 38 plus years as a company working in this space. We're the largest woman-owned and minority-owned crisis management firm in the United States. The reason Luma Energy Puerto Rico is here on the slide, it is the largest public assistance award ever made by the federal government. IEM is the primary contractor supporting that public assistance project. We also work for Virginia Department of Emergency Management in the same space, and we've done multiple work in this space throughout California as well. Next slide. Why me as the incident commander? I was brought in specifically because I'm leading the response to recovery incident management team for Tustin. I'm the manager of special projects internally to our company. I have extensive experience in public safety services, including emergency management, public health, emergency medical services, fire service, hazardous materials, and fire marshal. Well over 38 years. I'm a certified emergency manager and associate business continuity professional and certified business continuity lead authority. Next slide, please. I'm going to transfer now and our operations section chief, Colin Cummings.
Good morning, I'm Colin Cummings, Operations Section Chief. I'm going to be covering the door deconstruction process, which is also current operations for the most part. Currently underway, we have cranes on site along with other special equipment being brought in today through tomorrow. Once the doors are secured, crews will begin remediating the area around in order for the area to be completely clean where the doors are going to be laid down on. That's important to note just because it has been a safety consideration this entire time while the doors are up for crews to be able to clean and mitigate any hazards. At that point, they will begin to attach rigging to the top of those doors in order for cranes to be able to connect to in order to safely and slowly lower those doors all the way to the ground onto the drop pads that'll be in place. Starting tomorrow morning, Thursday, December 7th, we will begin systematically lowering the individual sections of the doors. These doors will be lowered, again, slowly and controlled by not one, but two cranes on site in order to make sure that safety is paramount. After one set of door or panels is down on the ground, the crane and crew will move to the opposite side of the hangar and begin the same process again. Simultaneously, ATI will begin to treat, rig, and eventually lower the external structures located at the top of the concrete pillars. It's important to note that debris will not be removed from the property during this entire process. Noise will be mitigated, safety will be paramount, and air monitoring will continue. Next slide. As Chief Wingsolar had previously stated, when we took over, there was approximately 60% of the area was cleared. This is to include businesses, right-of-ways, and residences. We are going to focus on the remaining 40%. As of right now, 100% of all right-of-ways are completed, but there's still an outstanding 40% of residences that have yet to be completed. The remaining areas at this point, while being residential, are being moved through very quickly. ATI, Gamma, and 4 other independent contracted companies are going through these areas systematically and very quickly at this point. At the beginning, we only had 2 contracted CAC companies doing this work. At this point, we currently have 6, with more than 600 combined staff amongst all the contractors working each day in order to get this completed. Daily totals are being tracked and reported to ensure accuracy of remaining work. Any independent An independent third party, as previously mentioned, has been contracted to solely perform an independent quality assurance that will comply with standards outlined by EPA and AQ&D standards. Next slide. The following divisions, as you see on the map here, these divisions were outlined in order to break up priorities of work and assign work more easily instead of trying to reference an entire area. The following divisions are all cleared and inspected pending any new requests that continue to come in. Divisions A, D, F, X, Y, and Z as depicted on this map. The railway in between I-55 South to Jamboree Road is going to be cleared and inspected starting on Saturday morning and moving through Sunday with no anticipation to inhibit normal operating procedures for the railway. The outlier addresses or areas that are not considered inside of a specific targeted area will continue to be addressed as they come up and mitigated as soon as possible. Active monitoring and reporting will continue during the entire process to ensure safety and awareness. The Navy is responsible for the debris removal from the incident site and is working to assign a contractor in order to perform this work. Yet again, important to note that we will increase monitoring during the time in which debris is removed from the hangar site, just to ensure public safety is paramount. That concludes my brief.
All right, thank you, Colin. We'll now move on to an information update from the City of Tustin Communications Manager, Stephanie Nahara.
Good morning, Stephanie Nahara here. Over the last 24 hours, we logged an additional 37 calls into our call center, bringing our totals to 1,519 calls thus far. And our debris reporting portal also received an additional 12 entries for a total of 987 reports to that portal. Last night during a special meeting of the City Council, which was concurrent with the regular meeting, the City Council took action on the agenda item titled City Council Action to Demand Navy Accountability and Environmental/Public Health Agency Guidance Concerning the Navy North Hangar Incident. To view a recording of the meeting, please visit our website, tustinca.org. And a friendly reminder to everyone to send any questions or concerns to Navy Hangar Recovery at tustinca.org. That's Navy Hangar, that's with 2 A's, HANGAR, recovery at tustinca.org. And our team is working diligently to address all questions and concerns with our subject matter expert partners. End of report. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. I do see some, I mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, I see at least one hand raised. We're not taking the questions live during this meeting. It's a change in format from when we were doing the cooperators meeting. So as was just mentioned, if you can direct your questions to the email Navy Hangar Recovery at tustinca.org, we'll get those questions answered as soon as we can. I want to thank you once again for taking time out of your day to join us this morning. Please continue to send us your questions. That concludes our update for the morning. Now for closing comments from our incident commander.
As you've heard today, we continue to work the progress of the incident, moving more and more towards the recovery phase and getting those areas cleaned. We look forward to continuing that work and keeping you informed. So we plan to keep these informational meetings scheduled for Wednesdays at 10 a.m. And as we've said, we're making this information available and recording so that it's viewable not just during the 10 a.m. hour. Thank you. That's all I have.
All right, thank you. That concludes our meeting for this morning. You can look for invites for future meetings, but as was mentioned, you can share with anybody that this will be up on the City of Tustin YouTube site as soon as we can make that available. Thanks again for taking your time out. We'll see you next time.